Hello, my name is Cyril, and today I want to welcome you to a show where the only thing that matters is a right answer. This is the show where I quiz my buddy and Defunct Games cohort Lorne Riseley to see how much he knows about video games. And today, we have a very special episode in store. You see, WrestleMania 2019 is this weekend, so it gave me a good idea. Although I don't know much about wrestling, Lorne does. So I wanted to quiz him to see if he'd be able to match the quote with the WWE superstar. This is a super-sized episode where we end up spending quite a bit of time talking about the wrestlers and the history of the sport. How will Lorne do? Well, let's find out as we dig through old issues of Incite Magazine for this grapple-heavy quiz. So Lorne, I hear you're a big wrestler. Oh crap, I bit my tongue.
That's always a good omen.
It's always great. Lorne, I hear you're a big wrestling fan.
I'm a huge wrestling fan, yes indeed.
What's your history with wrestling?
Wrestling started watching when I was 8 or 9 years old. Watched for a few years, got out of it when I was maybe 12 or 13, but then a few years back, got back into it again. So now I'm a big, I love watching the live events and a big fan of the history and the tradition that wrestling can boast. So,
why did you get out of it initially?
It went through a phase of not being very cool. And after the Attitude Era finished and a lot of the big stars like Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock went on to bigger and better things, it just didn't have the same allure as it once did.
Did Stone Cold Steve Austin really go on to bigger and better things?
He's making a lot of money these days.
What's he up to these days? I don't hear about him much recently. What's he up to?
He has his own brand of beer. I think it's called the Broken Skull beer. Or something to that effect. He does podcasts, he does the occasional television appearance, and he makes a lot of money from his residuals. A lot of money from his residuals. So,
all right. Well, we'll talk about him a little bit later because he's coming up in this. And what got you back into wrestling?
A gentleman by the name of CM Punk.
Oh, okay. What was it about him?
He basically did an interview, if you want to call it that, where he spoke from the heart and he spoke real and he represented a lot of what the fans were feeling at the time, and he made wrestling cool again. He made it sort of the indie thing to like, and as a result, me and a lot of other people thought, wow, that's cool. That's what I want to see. And so it opened the door for a lot of other people to do the same thing, and suddenly wrestling, for me, was cool again.
All right. Do you have a favorite wrestler, or is that your favorite wrestler?
CM Punk is probably my favorite wrestler of all time, but in terms of a wrestler right now, that's tricky. Probably AJ Styles, on balance.
Okay.
Who has courted some controversy recently, but otherwise is still... Well, he had a stint on Steven Crowder and made some... He's a hardcore conservative Christian, so...
Okay. Well, that's fine. All right. Yeah. Well, before this gets too derailed, let me ask you a question. If I were to create a quiz based on wrestling, how well do you think you would do?
I'd like to think I'd do pretty well.
You think you're going to ace it? You're going to do better than when I quizzed you about SNK games?
Well, let me put it to you this way. I plan on getting some of the answers right this time.
Yeah, that was embarrassing. So, well, the good news is I have created a quiz that is all about wrestling. I've actually recently been going through old issues of Incite Magazine, which was from the late 90s and early 2000s. I don't think it made it out of 2000. I don't even think it didn't get into 2001. I don't think. I could be wrong. It ran for like a year, maybe a little longer, but it's basically it's like the video game equivalent of what I think you would call a lads magazine, where it was like a little bit like Maxim, but with video game stuff. So it had, kind of the half-naked women, but also had, them playing video games. And it was trying to mix the celebrity, they would bring in Blink-182 and they, have them play, I don't know, Crash Team Racing or something like that. And they would try to bring in a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. In the issues I have, many of them, in fact, I think all of them have interviews with different wrestlers because I think, let's be honest, that's who they could get. And all of them had these kind of ridiculous quotes, as you might expect. And what I've done is I've jotted down a bunch of them. And what I would like to find out if you can match the wrestler that said it with the quote.
Okie dokie.
And to make this a little easier, now there are only 8 of these quotes. To make this a little easier, I've decided to give you, I think it's 10 names. And these quotes will be from 8 of these 10 names. And here are the wrestlers that the quotes could be from. And maybe you can let me know a little bit about each of them as we go along. First up is Edge. Who's Edge?
Edge, Adam Copeland, is a retired wrestler now, 13-time World Heavyweight Champion and a Royal Rumble winner. Best known for his Rated R Superstar gimmick, where he had a live sex show on Monday Night Television.
All right.
Indeed.
What about D'Lo Brown? I recently learned that the D in D'Lo Brown stands for down.
Well, you're not wrong. D'Lo Brown. I think you could be generously... I just like the fact that you'd have rattled off all the possibilities, because you'd be giving them too much credit, because you do sometimes. You go, well, maybe they could go this way. Nope, you're giving them way too much credit.
Nope.
D'Lo Brown could be generously described as a mid-carder. I think his most prominent runs were with the European and Intercontinental titles, but was never considered a main eventer, but certainly a good worker.
Okay. Now I know who this next person is, and that's Mankind. Because I saw a documentary about him.
Do you know what his real name is?
Man? E? No, I saw the documentary about it, but it's been a long time, and I don't remember his name now.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about Mankind, Mr. Kind.
Mr. Kind, or
Manny
Man as his friends call him. Real name Mick Foley is a hardcore legend.
Of course, I knew that.
Indeed.
Yes. Dude, what am I thinking?
No, you don't. Hey, it's the gimmicks become the man, and the man become the gimmick sometimes. And his Mankind gimmick was certainly synonymous with him for a long time. But most fans will know him as the pioneer of hardcore wrestling in America. He made it popular, and it's died out a little bit now. But he's known for being one of the smartest and nicest people in all of wrestling.
Okay. This is the moment, of course, where everybody in the audience realizes that I don't know anything about wrestling, so I'm really glad you're here.
Oh, it's all good. Someone's got other stuff.
Next up is Goldust. Who's that?
Goldust. Real name, you'll like this, Dustin Rhodes. That's where the dust in the Goldust comes from. Sure. Do you see what you did there?
I get that.
His gimmick could best be described as bizarre. He was cooked up in a time where the wrestling fans were used to a certain type of gimmick, which was very cartoony. Goldust came along, who was his thing was that he was just a bizarre individual, and most prominent runs probably with the IC Championship. Still wrestling to this day, by the way. Still he? Producing and still,
how old is he?
Still makes the occasional. He's 50 odd years old by this point, but still wrestles, still in tremendous shape. Still wears the singlet and still paints his face. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not going to be embarrassed about this next one because I know the Godfather is Marlon Brando.
He is, yes, very successful professional wrestler. Held many titles. The Godfather. How best to put this? He was a pimp.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense.
He would invite people to come aboard his hoe train every single week, and it was actually one of the most popular performers of his day.
Okay. Well, did Val Venis ever go on his hoe train?
He never went on the hoe train, but I'm sure he was a fan. Val
Who's
Venis. Val Venis was, his gimmick was that he would make pornographic videos with the wives of his opponents.
That's the second person doing live sex shows.
Yeah, so that was Val Venis, most prominent again for the European strap. He was a big competitor in that realm.
Okay. Next up, look, I know who The Rock is. I've seen a movie. But tell me a little bit,
last year.
just for fun, just for shits and giggles. Tell me a little bit about The Rock.
The Rock is a film starring Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage.
It's a Criterion collection.
There you go. So you'd be more qualified to talk about The Rock than me at this point.
I probably would.
The Rock, otherwise known as Dwayne The Rock Johnson, third generation wrestler, one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time in terms of his ability to do promos and sell people on his ability to win at everything. Just a terrific entertainer. Absolutely magnificent.
All right. Christian Cage. Now, I'm assuming that's where the cage match came from. It was named after him.
Why not? Hey, it's wrestling. You can make up anything you like and say, yep, I was the first to do a cage match, even though I was born 10 years after the first one. It's fake news. Christian Cage, the kayfabe brother of Edge, they ended up not being brothers for reasons. Actually, they decided it wasn't marketable for them to be brothers anymore, so they decided you were both
really
Canadian.
Brothers?
No, they were just both Canadian. That was enough to make them brothers.
Well, a lot of people are related in Canada.
You've both got long hair. You're both from Canada. You're brothers. Let's just not complicate things with facts.
Yes.
Christian Cage actually made his name probably more outside of WWE in TNA, but it was a very successful tag team competitor with Edge. Retired about 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, another good mid-carder wrestler.
Well, I promise we're almost done with this. This is taking way longer than I thought.
Yeah, no.
Sexual chocolate.
Sexual chocolate. Mark Henry, the world's strongest man.
That's probably not offensive.
Sexual chocolate.
Chris Jericho.
The Ayatollah of rock and roller, the best in the world at what he has no idea. A great mid-carder, actually competing for AEW as we speak.
Really? Still going?
Yeah,
How old is he?
Brand new promotion. He's 50-odd years older.
Wow. All right. And finally, oh boy, this is one I know because I saw him get inducted into the Wrestling Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 25 in person, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Doesn't really much need to be said.
No.
The single most successful professional wrestler of all time.
Yeah. That was one of the few times. In fact, that's the only wrestling event I've ever been to. Was WrestleMania 25, and that's because THQ sent me down for the full week there in Texas. So that was.
There's going to be fans obscenely jealous of you because that means you witnessed one of the greatest matches of all time.
That is. Yeah,
I'm sure you remember it fondly.
Not at all. We were super drunk in the owner's suite, and because it was a bunch of games press. It was all the people you would know. Oh boy, I was pretty drunk. I was there for Mickey Rourke.
Yes. and somewhere, as if out of nowhere, 1,000 smarks cried out in terror, and there was suddenly silence. I fear something terrible has just been admitted. God.
All right, so now that you know the wrestlers, let's go through these quotes, and let's see if you can match them.
Let's do this.
Oh boy, we're just gonna go through them individually, and you let me know who said this. Let's start with this.
Let's do this.
Who said this? Does Laura Croft speak Spanish? When I'm done with her, she'll be speaking Spanish fluently.
I'm chalking that down to one of two of them.
Who's on your mind right now?
Well, when you think of sexual innuendo, you've got three people potentially on that list. You've got Goldust, Godfather, or Val Venis.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Val Venis.
Correct!
Yeah.
Right, man, right. You know you're wrestling. So we're gonna mark that as
I try.
right.
I try.
All right. Next quote. I love sports games, especially the Madden football series. I've been dominating the gaming gridiron since Madden 92, and everyone who challenged me knows that I'm the best damn Madden player around. I also enjoy games that touch my intellect, like SimCity. Who said that?
Well, the damn gives away potentially three of them?
Oh, okay. Who? What do you have it narrowed down to?
Jericho, Stone Cold, or The Rock.
Okay.
Gridiron rules out Jericho because his dad was a hockey player, not a football player. Stone Cold and The Rock both played football. I will, because he mentioned intelligence, and that's not slighting the other choice in any way, shape, or form. Because he said it touches intelligence, I'm going to say The Rock.
What, you calling Stone Cold Steve Austin stupid?
I'm saying he's a working collar, blue-blooded man who's not got time for any of that touching my intelligence rubbish.
You're correct. It is The Rock.
Oh hell yeah.
He's a big fan of SimCity. Who knew?
Who knows?
Okay. 2 for 2.
Cool.
You think it's hard keeping track of one girlfriend? Imagine having hundreds and hundreds of girlfriends all over the world. You know when that time of the month comes with all their PMS, the DMS, the DDB, man. There's so much more I can't even pronounce.
Yeah, there's only one choice for that one, I'm afraid.
Who is it?
It's time for everyone to hop off that hoe train.
Oh no!
It's The Godfather.
Not the hoe train.
Definitely The Godfather on that one.
Oh, I made this too easy. All right. Bring on all challengers. Like my music says, bring it on. Is that what you got? Bring it on. I'm the real deal. Now recognize that. Like X-Pac says, your ass is grass. And I'm gonna smoke it.
The bloody hell said that? I think the only one that I can think, and this is a guess. I have no idea. D'Lo Brown.
Oh, he was not down low enough on that marijuana smoking. If you know what I'm saying.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Now you're killing this. Here we go. Let's see if you get this.
Go on then.
I lost the European title belt to The Rock in a game of Madden. But what he fails to mention is that I won it back the next night in a 37-7 win. I was pretty motivated to get my belt back. I played as Jacksonville and blitzed him almost every play. I was just toasting him with my D. So, Lauren, who is wagging his D around to beat The Rock at Madden?
I think this one I'm torn between two.
Okay, who?
Christian Cage or Sexual Chocolate.
You gotta say it that way, huh?
I will try my best not to, because he's my answer. Sexual Chocolate.
Sexual Chocolate, you're right.
Yes.
All right. Up next. Well, Here's a guy who knows how to keep on brand. This was I have to say, he must have been previewing some wrestling game by THQ or something, because here's what he says.
Okay.
With each game, THQ keeps getting closer and closer to delivering exactly what we do on TV. Now they even have the backstage scenarios. The lines are starting to get blurred between playing a SmackDown season and reality. I'm sure he said it exactly like that. That just sounds like copy that came right out of the THQ PR, though.
That's tough. That's tough. I'm torn between Jericho and Mankind on that one. I should probably pick him, but no, I'm gonna go for Chris Jericho.
No, it's Christian Cage.
Oh, damn, never mind.
Why'd you think it was Chris Jericho?
Because he's very good at his branding, and he's always very well aware of what bits and bobs are important to gamers. Christian Cage, I don't give that kind of credit to, it seems, so I apologize for that.
Yeah. It's your first miss.
Damn.
Not getting 100%. No clean sweep here.
Never mind.
All right, let's see if you rebound a little bit with this one. Keep buying the video games and keep playing as me. I'd much rather have you guys playing with me because I'm tired of playing with myself. In a video game, that is.
Yeah. That's, yeah, no prizes on this one, unfortunately. That's good. That's Goldust.
No!
No,
That's Chris
really?
Jericho.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn it, I gave him way too much credit in this quiz. Way too much. Smart, calculated businessman to quagmire. Dearie me.
All right, finally.
Tired of you playing with me? All right.
Finally. This being the first time I've played SmackDown, though I'm not going to make excuses, being one half of the WWF Tag Team Champions, in case you need a reminder of that. But D'Lo lied and said that he's never played this before when he played the game every day. Who's that?
I'm going to guess and say that was Edge.
That is correct. It is the U2 superstar, The Edge. No, it is. You're right. It is Edge. How'd you think you did?
Do you know what? 6 out of 8 ain't great. I thought I'd get at least 7. I thought I might slip up on 1. But, I'll take it. But I really I should have... I gave Chris Jericho way too much credit on 2 of those.
You were so sure of Goldust.
Well, that's something he would say. Like, Jericho talking about playing with himself. Like, God damn, why? That wasn't your gimmick. Your gimmick was that you were a rock star, not sex pest.
All right. I want to thank you for taking part in our quiz, Lorne. Make sure and go and subscribe to Lorne's Halcyon Show channel, which I've linked in the detail box. He's been such a good sport throughout all of these quizzes, so it's the least you could do. Just go and show him some love. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for taking our quiz. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new quizzes every Friday. Now, here's the question I have for you. What's your favorite wrestling game? As you probably figured out by this quiz, I've never been a big wrestling fan. But I always enjoyed that WWF WrestleMania arcade game from like the 90s. You know, the one that's kind of like a fighting game. Yeah, THQ sent me down to San Diego to cover a game called WWE All-Stars or something like that, and it felt very similar. I think it even had some of the same people working on it. But I don't know, I never played the finished version. Anyway, let me see your picks in the comments below. Also, make sure to tune in to Lorne's Halcyon Show channel for an exclusive podcast featuring me. We spent a lot of time talking about the Avengers Endgame, and I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but I'm pretty sure we figured out who lives and dies. I also named my least favorite Avenger, so if You won't want to miss that. Anyway, we'll be back next week with a lot more reviews, endings, and quizzes. So do me a favor and click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,